In this video, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of how you can use Predillo to build, deploy, and use a machine learning model directly from Google Sheets. I have this sample spreadsheet with a bunch of data in it, and this is data related to credit cards transactions. So you can see here that I have multiple transactions with merchant ID, average amount per transaction, transaction amount, if the transaction has been declined or not, if the transaction is foreign or not, etc., etc. At the end of all these fields, I have a column says is fraudulent. So this is determines if this transaction has been categorized previously as fraudulent or not. What I want to build is a model that, given all these variables, it will tell me with a certain confidence if a transaction is fraudulent or not. So I already installed Predillo on my Google Sheets, so you can find it here under Add-ons Predillo, and from here I can select Build Predictive Model to start analyzing the data and building my model. At this point, Predillo is checking out the data. It's asking me where the data is located. I can select an area of the data that I want to supply to Predillo, or can I simply not select anything to let Predillo figure it out by itself by analyzing the spreadsheet. At this point, Predillo is analyzing the data and determining the type of fields. You can see here that Predillo has categorized the type of data into multiple types. Like, for example, here you can see that is Irish country is a categorical value, and this is the value distribution. You have the 2,153 values, which is equal to no, and yes is 153, etc., etc. So I can change the type of field. In this case, merchant ID has been classified as an integer value, but in reality, this is a categorical value. At this point, I can decide which field I want to select or deselect. Let's say that I'm okay to select all the fields, and I move to the next part. In this case, I can decide what is the field that I want to predict. In this case, it's going to be is fraudulent. That's actually the value that I want to predict. Predillo will, based on the type of field, in this case is a categorical field, so it already knows that we are actually solving a classification problem. Move to the next phase. Predillo will ask me how long I want to train the model for. Obviously, the higher the training time is, the better the quality of the model. Let's set it to 1 minute just for the sake of a demo. And in this case, I have multiple models that I can choose from, and I can choose one specific model, or I can choose multiple models, and Predillo will actually test all these models and choose the best one for me. So once I decided all these parameters, I can just simply hit Build Model. At this point, Predillo is analyzing the data and is starting to train the model. The model training happens entirely in the cloud, so the data is retrieved by Predillo from the Google account, is processed, is never persisted actually, and it's once the model has been built, the data is completely thrown away. So there is no persistence of data anywhere in the cloud. We are already at 42%, 47%. Now the quality of this model might not be as good as expected, because the training time is very limited. It's only 1 minute, but it's enough to give you an overview of the result that you see and how you can actually evaluate the quality of the model. Now we're almost done. Okay, my model is ready, and you can see here a summary of the parameters to evaluate the quality of the model. you can see the overall scores, the accuracy score, precision score, recall score. If you are familiar with data science, you kind of know what this actually means. And here you can see a confusion matrix. So here is an easy way to evaluate the quality of the model. If you know how a confusion matrix works, it's pretty straightforward to understand. Basically, here we are saying that the model quality is pretty good because out of all the tested predictions, 494 were actually initially categorized as no, and they turn out to be predicted as no, so that is pretty good. While 5 of them, they were actually categorized as no, while they've been predicted as yes. And the same way on the other side, 74 were correctly predicted and 4 were wrongly predicted. So we are pretty happy with the model. Here you can actually see the feature importance, so which of the columns are being classified as to being most important for the prediction. And let's go ahead and save our model. Once we save the model, Predillo will ask us what's the name of the model. Let's call it my sample prediction. And I can add a description to my model, credit card prediction, credit card fraud prediction, and then I will have to give a function name to this model. Let's call credit card fraud pred. Okay, I can add a field, a description to each and every field, and I can actually install the model into this spreadsheet, which will I explain later what that means. Once I save the model is persisted together with all this additional information. Now let's say that I'm opening a new spreadsheet. In this case, I'm going to use this test data, which is data that I didn't use for the training of the model. And I want to make a prediction out of this data. So I can go to Predillo, I can say manage models, and here I will be able to see all the models that has been saved and associated to this spreadsheet and installed into the spreadsheet. I open Predillo and I select Manage Models. Here, I will be able to see all the models that have been installed into this spreadsheet. You can see that this is the model that we just saved. If I click on this, I can see all the parameters that the model needs, the scores, whatever we saw before. But let's say that I want to use this model. What I do is simply copy the function, paste it here as a function, and then pass all my parameters. In this case, it's going to be all this line to my model. You will see here that the scoring is executed, and I will get the actual prediction. My model is basically invoked as a standard Google Sheet function, and as that I can just copy it here, and the prediction will be applied to all these all the fields. That's pretty much about it, and so you have seen how I was able to build a model, deploy it, and use it directly from Google Sheets in a matter of minutes. Thank you.